After the end of the Arpad Dynasty, Hungary was having hard times, and in 1308, after an interregnum, Charles Robert of the Anjou House became the leader of the nation. Wallachia, a vassal of the Hungarian state, under the leadership of Basarab I, sought to achieve its independence, but Charles was mad at his actions and led an invasion. The large Hungarian army advanced deep in Wallachian territory and would encounter their outnumbered counterparts in a ravine at the Battle of Posada. By the end of the 9th century, Arpad and the Hungarians conquered the Carpathian Basin and began expanding, building a strong kingdom under his rule, achieving regional power. The Kingdom of Hungary reached one of its greatest extents during the Arpadian kings, yet royal power was weakened at the end of their rule in 1301. After a destructive period of interregnum, the first Angevin king, Charles of Hungary, a bilineal descendant of the Arpad Dynasty, successfully restored royal power and defeated oligarch rivals, the so-called Little Kings. Hungary at that time had extended its control south of the Carpathians to the Danube in the Vlach-populated Principality of Wallachia, founded by the legendary voivode Radu Negru. In the principality, a new leader rose to power. Basarab I, or the founder, commonly known, became voivode of Wallachia in early 14th century. According to two popular theories, Basarab I came into power between 1304 and 1324 by dethroning or peacefully succeeding the legendary founder of Wallachia, Radu Negru, or in 1310 by succeeding his father, Thocamirius. A royal charter issued on July 26, 1324 is the first document to reference Basarab. According to the charter, he was subject to Charles I of Hungary as the voivode of Wallachia. Basarab became disloyal to the Holy Crown of Hungary in 1325. Some historians claim that the Cumans aided the Wallachians in the battle. Still in the Hungarian army, there was a substantial Cuman-Hungarian contingent, so this variant is very improbable. In 1324, Wallachia was a vassal of Hungary, and Charles referred to Basarab as our Transalpine voivode. The war started with encouragement from the voivode of Transylvania and a certain Dionysi, who later bore the title ban of Severin. In 1330, Charles captured the long-disputed Wallachian citadel of Severin and handed it to the Transylvanian voivode. Basarab sent envoys who asked for the hostilities to cease, and in return offered to pay 7,000 marks in silver, submit the fortress of Severin to Charles, and send his own son as hostage. According to the Viennese Illuminated Chronicle, a contemporary account, Charles said about Basarab, "He is the shepherd of my sheep, and I will take him out of his mountains, dragging him by his beard." Another account writes that Charles said that he will drag the voivode from his cottage, as would any driver his oxen or shepherd his sheep. The king's councillors begged him to accept the offer or give a milder reply, but he refused and led his 30,000 strong army deeper into Wallachia without proper supplies or adequate reconnaissance. Charles entered Kurthia, the Argesh, the main city of the Wallachian state. Basarab having fled into the mountains, Charles decided to give chase. After many days of difficult marching in the Carpathian mountains, the king and Basarab agreed to an armistice, with the condition that the latter would provide guides who knew the way out of the mountains and would lead the army back to the Hungarian plain by the shortest route. The location of the battle is still debated among historians. One theory gives the location of the battle at Wallachian, in some mountain gorges, in the Olt defile, Transylvania. However, Romanian historian Niga Javara denies this and states that the location of the battle was somewhere at the border between Oltenia and Severin. The Hungarian royal army was made up of ecclesiastics and laymen with military duties. They were joined by Sekles and the Transylvanian Saxons, except the Saxons of Sibiu, who supported Basarab and refused to join Charles' army, as well as numerous units of mercenaries and countless numbers of Cumans. Stephen Lackfi was named the commander of the army. The Wallachian army, led by Basarab himself, probably numbered less than 10,000 men and consisted of cavalry, infantry, archers, and some locally recruited peasants. When the Hungarian army entered a ravine, the Wallachians started to attack them from all sides, shooting arrows and pelting them with trees and stones. The army of Charles Robert was however decisively defeated following heavy hand-to-hand combat during the last 2 days of the battle. When Charles saw his best knights being killed, without being able to fight back, while the escape routes were blocked by the Wallachian cavalry, he gave his royal robes and insignia to one Desev, son of Dionysius, who dies under a hail of arrows and stones and, with a few loyal subjects, made a difficult escape to Visegrad clad in dirty civilian clothes. Charles later recounted in detail, in a charter of December 13, 1335, how one Nicholas, son of Radoslav, saved his life by defending him from the swords of 5 Wallachian warriors, giving him enough time to escape. As the Hungarian Illuminated Chronicle states, the Vlachs carried many away captive, both wounded and uninjured, and from the bodies of the fallen they took many weapons and much precious raiment, money in silver and gold, costly vessels and baldricks, many purses heavy with coins, and many horses with saddles and bridles, all which they carried away and gave to the voivode Basarab. The victory represented the survival of the Wallachian state, as well as the beginning of a period of tense relations between Basarab and the Kingdom of Hungary, which lasted until 1344, when Basarab sent his son Alexandru in order to re-establish a relationship between the two states. Because of its large financial power, the Kingdom of Hungary quickly rebuilt its army and found itself in conflict with the Holy Roman Empire in 1337. However, the Hungarian king maintained a de jure suzerainty over Wallachia until the diplomatic disputes had been resolved. The battle resulted in a major Wallachian victory. Salhagian writes that the victory sanctioned the independence of Wallachia from the Hungarian crown and altered its international status. Georgescu describes Wallachia as the first independent Romanian principality. Although the kings of Hungary continued to demand loyalty from the voivodes of Wallachia, Basarab and his successors yielded to them only temporarily in the 14th century.